Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Planning Board meeting, October 23rd, 7 p.m. With us tonight, we have Lou Perrin, member, Bill LePage, member, Richard Clark, Vice Chairman, Steve Wetruba, Clerk of the Board, myself, Daniel Edmiston, and then in place of our Town Planner, we have Mr. Ian McElwee from the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. All right, thanks for being here tonight. First order of business, just want to kind of have a shout out to Town Planner Don Johnson, wishing him a speedy recovery. First item on the agenda, A, meeting minutes. Everybody get a chance to read the minutes? From September 25th. Anybody read them, ready for approval? Or?
Yeah, they were emailed.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes, meeting minutes for our Wednesday, September 25th, 2019 meeting.
I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second the motion.
And a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed unanimously. I've got one there, copy for signatures. You guys can get a second one going?
Okay.
All right, B, A, and R plans, we don't have any tonight. C, item agenda number C, there was a preliminary plan for the Lyons Road subdivision. I understand that's not going to be on the agenda tonight. The gentleman applicant is not here. Hopefully we'll see him then next time. Item D, site plan review, 93 Schofield Ave, car lot with greater than 5 spaces but less than 10. You please come up forward and sign in. We need 2 copies. Somebody else get a second copy?
Second one's on the way.
There you go, sir. Just introduce yourself, please.
My name is Alexander Wazalewski. I've been in Dudley for over 10 years. And 8 months ago, I opened up my own auto repair shop on 93 Schofield Avenue called Zoom Auto Service.
Okay.
I worked at Ziggy Automotive previously for 8 years, but I just went on my own. So Ziggy Automotive previously.
Surprise.
So I do a little bit of detailing, and I got 2 lifts, and I do some auto repairs there too. Under the address, it used to be Old Dudley Nursery. I don't know if some of you are familiar with it, but there's 2 new owners of the place. I don't know for how long, but I am renting a building from them over there, and it's a pretty big lot. So I'm not looking. The plan is to have more than 5 cars over there, but just because the amount of space that I don't want to take up too much space, I'm not looking to do a major project there with 10, 20 cars.
Yep.
I do want to include a handicap spot there. So that limits me to only 4 cars there, to put up for sale, not 5 or more, Original plan was to have 5 or more, but like I said, I want to put a handicap spot, so that just limits me down to 4 spaces to sell the cars.
So you're not renting the whole entire lot then? I think that's supposed to be a light industrial 43 district, I think?
Not the whole lot. The whole lot is shared because it's also like a storage place.
Okay.
So people keep their boats and stuff there too.
So you have a portion of that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
And
So
the portion that you have is large enough to accommodate these 5 cars approximately?
yeah. I mean, I got some stuff. I think I drew a picture the best I could. I'm not the best drawer, but I got a couple spots that I can park in before the overhead door, in front of the overhead door and stuff. But the spots that I want is, maximum 4. Because
And the people you're renting this property from, they're in agreement with this, or they're okay with the side?
Oh yeah. It's actually the place that the owner of the place is actually my future father-in-law. So I get along with him pretty well.
For now, anyway.
For now, yeah.
And in the packet, it's kind of some variations of it, but the latest
version of how the site will be laid out is that top sheet, so.
And how many cars is that? How many spaces is total? Because on this it
That would be
says
5.
more than 5 but less than 10.
Yes, so.
You mentioned 10 to 20.
So there's currently, 5 spots along the fence,
5 spots along the building, yes.
yes, is what's being proposed.
But
Not much visibility from the road in terms of if you're having those cars there.
it's a little hidden. Yep. So the fence is a little further away, just because it's a big lot.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't take up the whole lot.
So do you want to park the cars for sale along the fence line at Schofield Ave, or
No,
in front of the building?
Along the building.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that-
But I do want to make one spot a handicap spot closest to the office door, and then use the rest 4 to park the cars for sale.
All right, so these are cars that you're going to recondition and offer for sale.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not the best
5.
drawer, so.
Where are the others?
No, the legal designation for separation is 5 to 10, and then I think it's 10 or more. So he's going for the designation 5 to 10,
Okay.
and so he's showing basically there's 5 spaces available. The plan is to make one of those a handicap spot.
So on the handicap spot, I'm not planning to park a car for sale, just those 4 spots.
Yeah.
And
And any other spots or spaces on the lot would be for,
just
The owner
a
more.
customer, or to move a car or park it there for the night, you know? Not to use for selling cars. Like I said, I'm not planning to run a major operation over there, you know? It's,
You said you have an existing repair shop?
yes, yep.
so Ian, if you could help us here a little bit. My understanding is that as far as there's a Class 2 license involved with this. That's an
Yes.
item for the Board of Selectmen, not really
Correct.
for us.
Correct.
We're just reviewing I know that the car sales is a use permitted by right in this area.
Correct.
So as long as we have the frontage, and I don't really know what other things we would be checking for this. I mean,
So like I said, I'm not asking to have 5 to 10 spots.
Mhm.
You know, I'm asking for less than that, because like I said, I'm not running a huge operation over there. And maybe I would be asking if I didn't want to do a handicap spot, but I do. I got a couple customers that do show up, are handicapped, and I do want to do that, you know.
Is yours a one-man operation?
For now, yes, sir.
so what is our task right now?
So the task of the planning board would be to kind of give it an approval, that when it goes to in front of the Board of Selectmen, it shows that the planning board has,
Reviewed it.
has looked at it, has reviewed the plan, given its okay.
All right.
That is my understanding of what the
There wouldn't be
action is.
any other town boards would have to approve this or look at it, would there? A board-
No, nothing that comes to mind. I can double check and confirm that, though.
Yeah, so it's basically existing pavement. I can't see how parking
Yeah, it's
cars
a-
there would have any kind of an issue as far as
Huge.
possible leak in oil or anything.
Yeah, it's a huge parking lot.
Yeah. Everything's away from the street. I can't see any issues with any kind of public safety that we might have to think about. It's an existing lot. We don't really have to worry about any kind of zoning issues there as far as frontage or side or back or anything like this, setbacks. So as far as I can tell, this is kind of a straightforward thing. Does the board have any additional questions?
The only thing I see here, it says, car lot with greater than 5 spaces but less than 10. Are we just gonna set a number, or are we gonna leave it vague?
I think,
Yeah, that's the change of the plan, and I'm sorry, because I came up with this last minute today, that, I thought of the handicap spot, and they said 5 to 10, but just because of the handicap spot, it just limits me to 4. So that's why I'm asking for, less than 5, because
I just like to put a number.
Yeah, but does the Class 2 designation itself have that number of 5 to 10? Or am I misunderstanding that?
Where it pops up as the 5 to 10 is within the projects requiring minor site plan review.
Okay.
That's Chapter 5, 04, 01, or 02. It says the construction and renovation of parking facilities involving 5 but fewer than 10 additional parking spaces, with the exception of normal maintenance, is where I believe this. I'm not sure. if
Effectively,
the-
he's just using the terminology that was provided.
Correct.
So the terminology and the quantity of 5 to 10 allows for a site plan review as opposed to a full-blown zoning review or
Yes.
special.
Anything involving 10 or more would constitute a major site plan review. And so there's just additional steps that need to be held, such as a public hearing. With a minor site plan review, there is no hearing involved.
Yep.
And he could also request waivers for the plan that the board would then either approve or reject.
So does anybody share Lou's opinion as far as quantities are concerned?
No,
Or-
that's what I was getting at
Mm.
with my initial question, because we're looking at these 5.
Yep.
But the way this is written, he's asking for more than 5, so I'm just wondering where the additional car is gonna go.
Well,
if we-
he's asking for 5, but the designation 5 to 10 just comes from it's a site plan review.
Yeah.
So just
I
gets
mean,
into that legal
So
terminology.
that should have
But he
said,
said 10 to 20 cars when he.
I think he said he
I just
could.
thought of the whole lot, that's how much cars would fit there, but I'm not renting the whole lot.
Some of them will be, some of those cars would be repair customers, and you have to have some
Yeah, I think-
allowance for those as well.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not, I don't keep tons of cars over there. I don't try to. What I meant is by the lot being so big is that people keep their other cars for storage and stuff. So easily from other people, it can fit at least 20 cars, you know? But in the notes, it says 5 to 10 cars just because they said minimum is 5. But I can't put out 5 in the front of the building just because, like I said, I want to put the handicap spot there. So I'll be limited to 3 or 4 cars to put out there for sale, you know? I definitely won't have 5, and I definitely won't have 10. So that just, like I said, and I'm just planning to put them in front of the building.
So the way I'm kind of seeing it as far as quantity is concerned is that staying with the 5 to 10 designation, he could theoretically, if we approve it as this, he could theoretically have 10 cars in there, but that would be more of a situation where he'd have to go through with his landlord and figure out where the space are and everything's okay. Once the 11th car gets on there, I think that's when we have to get involved and have to talk to the building inspector and how we go about that to make sure that there's actually the proper approvals in place for that. So what's the pleasure of the board?
I would like to make a motion that we approve the site plan as presented for 93 Schofield Ave, with the stipulation that it be 5 spaces, but not less, 5 spaces, but less than 10.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the plan as drawn for 5 spaces, but less than 10. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passed. So my understanding, this has to go in front of the Board of Selectmen now for the actual license and everything?
I never went through this. This is my first time at a town meeting,
Okay.
so you can lead me through it.
I can help you get in touch with the administrative assistant to the select board.
Mhm.
So we can, I'll talk with her tomorrow morning and kind of, if you want to give me your details, then I can make sure that she gets in touch with you about the process of the permit, so.
Okay.
Is
Perfect.
there anything he needs to do as far as the zoning officer, as far as the handicap spot,
Mhm.
and
I
just so all his
Yeah.
bases are covered?
I will speak with them this, tomorrow. I'm not completely sure, so I don't want to say yes or no
Right.
definitively. But if you give me your details, we can be in touch and I can help you, tomorrow get, figure out the next steps in the process.
Perfect. Awesome.
All right,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Do you have a card?
No, no.
Okay.
You want to take this, Ian, or you got more?
Oh, actually, yes, I got more, sorry.
All right, we'll be moving on to item D, discussion status report on finishing construction of and acceptance of uncompleted, unaccepted subdivision streets, including Pierpont Estates first. Just want both, good evening. Please sign in. Even though we know who both of you are, please sign in just for the record. You got them all?
I think so.
Okay, good. Just pass more to Ian. For him.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeff Walsh. I'm with Graves Engineering. I'm your engineer.
New board, right?
I'm sorry?
So it's a new board, you don't recognize many faces, do you?
I don't recognize one face, Mr. Chairman. But nevertheless, it's nice to meet you. Graves Engineering has been working for the Dudley Planning Board now, I'm guessing somewhere around 12 years. I'm really not sure. I've been involved with the projects in Dudley on behalf of Graves Engineering for that entire time. I still feel like the new kid on the block, but nevertheless, I'm here to answer questions. With Don Johnson being out on leave, Tony Sequeira, the developer for Pierpont Estates, had contacted me with respect to getting together to talk about whatever Tony wants to talk about. And I'm here to work with you gentlemen and to answer your questions. And I have been involved with Pierpont, not through the review process. We came on board in the town of Dudley about the time Tony started construction of his project, and I believe that was about back in 2006 or so. Nevertheless, I'll let Tony take it from there because he's prepared to discuss with you whatever he wants to discuss, and I'm here to give you engineering support.
Thank you.
Okay, main reason I'm trying to get, I need to build up some money to finish that project. And it's a little costly to finish it up. So I can get a bank to give me the whole amount that I need, the whole money that I need to, I can get about $300,000 I need about 500. So I came before, tried to split lot 1 to make up the money that I need to get that job done. Didn't work out. So now I'm trying to, I was looking to release, get lot 6 and 42 release so I can, the people that I'm building a house on 41 is a big house and they feel a little tight over there. He wants to buy the lot 42. So I have to get that release from the planning board. At the same time, I like to release lot 6 too. So now I need to know how the planning board feels about that.
Are those the Pierpont? Perfect.
Yes, these are the as-built for Pierpont.
Or there is something else that,
So there would be no structure built on lot 42 then?
lot 42, we have the drain, we have 75 feet of drain already in place. We have to put in another 24 feet to get to the crossing of the wetlands. The crossing of the wetlands, I have to do,
Is that the lot adjoining the person you mentioned with the large house and they want
they want to buy the lot
to
next
buy
door.
the lot? So they're not going to build on that lot, they're just going to have that lot
Right,
as a buffer?
Right, exactly, yeah. Yep.
So you're looking for the release of lot 6, 41, and 42? All three of them,
6 and 42.
but not 41? Because you're not building on
I'm
it?
building that big house on,
Okay.
it's already under construction.
42, there's no structure, it's just going to be an empty lot.
Yeah, let's say if you guys want to take a quick break and go up and take a look at the plan, find out what the lots are.
You may not see it on these plans. Lot 42 is, lot 41's about here, lot 42 is here, 6 is across. If these are as-built plans, they're probably not, no, but I do have my definitive plans with me. I do have that.
Yeah, we have it here.
Oh, you do, okay. And I'd like to get these plans out that show the grading, the wall, and so forth. They're not reflected on that side. Pierpont is way down here as you drive up the hill. There'll be a rock somewhere over here. And then there's, I forget the name of that one, but then this is the intersection of Noble Street and Noble Street. So the intention is this would be a big loop and would come back on itself. Mr. Sequeira is under construction with Lot 41 here. This Lot 40 was already constructed. Lot 5 was already constructed or is under construction.
No, it's done, so,
These two lines represent the lot lines for Lot 42, which Tony's asking to be released. And these two yellow lines represent Lot 6, which he's asking to be released. Now, as you can see, what we have here, there's a retaining wall along here and a retaining wall along here. And there's also, it's hard to see, but there's a proposed culvert under here. The stream flows in this direction, so there needs to be a culvert constructed and retaining walls and so forth to hold back the fill that needs to be placed to create the road. So as I see it, access to Lot 6 and access to Lot 42 is restricted to just this area here once the road is brought up to grade and constructed. I'm fearful that the road right now, the pavement ends somewhere right about here, more or less at that red line, and extending the road just part way across the frontage of these two lots may be problematic. But as an engineer, I can't address those things. I can't guide you gentlemen as to, is that proper, is that not proper? I can talk about construction costs and things like that, but I can't talk about how lot releases
Why would
work.
it be problematic?
More often than not, what I see is that if someone's gonna get lots released, they're gonna have the road constructed or surety in place up to the far point of the lot frontage, not just a portion thereof. But again, I can't speak to that as an engineer. I don't know if town council can help you, the planning staff can help you. I don't have an answer. I'm just letting you know that it raises a concern with you.
So this retaining wall, this is constructed? Or
No, it is
No,
not.
it's not.
This is proposed, the retaining walls are proposed, the culvert's proposed. The road is constructed to binder asphalt with the drainage up to about this point right here, from the intersection up to about here. And then, of course, the natural grade drops off. There's been some fill that might have been placed here to some extent. But the rest of the road from here, I can show you on a different plan sheet, up to around the corner, has yet to be constructed. Let's see if I can get the,
What is the plan for finishing that road?
Okay, I'd like, what I can do, okay, and if I get these lots released, I will start next week building the culvert. It's already staked, and I already met with the foundation company there, and we're gonna build the walls, and I'm gonna get the slabs from L&L concrete. So that bridge can be in place, I'll say, I don't know how long it's gonna take for those slabs because they have to cure. But the walls for the culvert, they will be in, possible by the end of next week.
And the road itself?
Well, I have to build that
extend the
culvert.
road, You have to build the culvert, I
Yeah,
understand.
I have to
but
build the
what-
culvert.
What do we have for a date or a projected date in terms of the road? Is there
Well,
one that you have in mind?
that's the whole thing is, I have enough money to build that culvert, right? And I need to build up money. I need to come up with $200,000. So I have to build on those two lots. I mean, sell one and maybe build on the other one, so I can pick about $200,000 that I need to add to the 300 that I can get from the bank and finish up that, connect that project. I want to finish that by middle of next year. I say, I like to have that road connect the latest by June. And I mean, I want to get the bridge in place or the culvert so I can get a blasting company over there. And, but again, I have to build up some money.
How many lots are after the culvert? How many lots are left?
9.
what's up to binder, we were just talking about this section of
Yeah.
road. This is lot 42, and this is lot 6, which Tony's looking to be released.
He's already built.
Top course is placed all the way to
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
And Tony, this lot is built upon, is that
That is
correct?
already built.
Is this lot built upon?
Yes.
That lot is?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there road
So the
constructed
road
in
is
front of those
already
two?
here.
So the road is only to here, but these two
The
lots are
road's-
already constructed?
Yeah.
These houses are constructed?
Yeah, well, the road is a little, because of the,
The road might,
Yeah,
this
a
is,
little further
this
down.
is, there is an entrance. I can tell you that the road's not constructed across the entire frontage.
not the wall, not,
But there is access onto this lot.
from the paving road.
How that came to be, I can't answer that question, but nevertheless, to about here is top course. Top course was placed last year on this entire section from here down, all these cul-de-sac roads up to here. That was a very big milestone. Binder is placed right here, and this is the section of road yet to be built from here to here, and it would take care of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
9 lots all. Oh, that 11 lots.
7, 8, 9, 10, I'm counting, yeah, 11, including lot 42,
Yeah.
whether or not it's
Right.
developed.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a lot.
So, being a new board member, I just want to ask the question for clarification. And maybe you can tell me. So, is it, normally is what's supposed to happen, should this bind of course have been brought up to this lot line here, since this lot is being built on, or built on?
That's what I've usually seen in other towns. We serve as a municipal consultant to a lot of different towns.
Is it usually
My-
the far lot line? Or
What I-
is there a certain amount of leeway, like in this lot here, it's brought up part way?
I don't think that mark is really correct. I
No,
think it's
well,
like right
like in
there.
the middle.
Yeah?
Yeah, it may be up here. I know there's a driveway over on this end of the lot.
It's at least
That's-
50 feet paved.
So this lot is,
Already
has it
built.
already built as well as this
That
one?
is built.
This one?
That
No,
is not.
No, okay. Every town can, make their bylaws as they wish, but what I've usually kind of seen is you just have to build up enough frontage for there to be a driveway. Once the driveway has access to the road, you can go to the end of the lot line, you can go midway, but there just has to be access for that driveway.
So if the driveway is to the right of the house on the right side,
Then
and if
it-
the garage is on the right side, then the binder should be brought up to that driveway, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can't develop a house and then expect them to go off-roading to get to their driveway.
You've been up there, did you notice? Do they have binder up to their driveway?
I paved it, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right.
They have binder and top coat.
Oh, okay.
It stops right about here because the driveway comes down like this. Their driveway's right here. It's almost like right on the
Yeah.
property lines.
They right across on from here.
Yeah, it doesn't go along much of the horizontal
No.
curve. It catches some of the.
About
About
horizontal
50
curve.
feet. Got about 50 feet in that one.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the point of lot releases and surety and so forth is for the provision, I'm assuming you're serving the role of planner?
Correct.
And, but my take on it as an engineer is the lot releases, the surety and so forth. We estimate surety values all the time, but the whole idea of those steps is for the provision of access and utilities to serve the lots that are going to be built upon. So, to your point, if there's adequate access, that's the milestone, adequate access to the lot.
Yes, there has, and it really just says adequate access and something of that nature, and it's up to kind of the planner and the planning board to define what is adequate access.
And just because other towns might do something a little differently, doesn't mean this town has to. I'm just trying to share with you my experience.
Now, you said that lot 42 would be sold, would be released to lot 41, so they would buy lot 42 as kind of a buffer. Is that
Right.
the same with lot 6 and lot?
No, lot
and
6,
five?
sorry. Lot 6 is this one,
Mhm.
and I do have a cash for this one. Again, this house is so big that
Mhm.
it's really tight in the lot. We're not gonna use the lot for the house. But he's gonna buy, he wants to buy the lot just for privacy.
Yes.
But he's gonna save the lot, he's not killing the lot.
Would you, and your lot 6 would be built on?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So access would not be an issue for lot 42? There
No.
wouldn't be any driveway into lot 42?
Well, yeah. Well, I have to extend the road, at least 75 feet.
To get to the culvert?
Yeah. So the money that I have is enough to raise a small bond and to build that culvert, which is gonna give me access to the other side. That's what my plan is. Meantime, if I sell their lot and I build this, I'll pick up the $200,000 that I need, so I can add those to the 300 I'm getting from the bank, and then I can finish up this whole thing like, before summer next year. But without, I'm gonna come back the next meeting probably trying to split lot 40, lot 1 again. I mean, I'm gonna I have a lawyer, that is gonna come in with me, and, because I have to build up some money, otherwise I have to leave, go someplace else, make the money, so I can finish this thing over here.
Which lot are you, will you be, which lot are you gonna be splitting?
Well, that's something, it's lot 1,
I'm seeing lot 1R
it's this one over here, that's this big lot.
is all the way up over
Yeah. And I was trying to split the lot and build walls over here, but we have a few issues over there, but I think those can be resolved,
Where will it have access to the street?
through, this over here.
This here?
Yeah.
Is that already, it's a paper road?
It's really not an issue tonight, though, as I understand it. It's 42 and 6 that are the concerns.
Exactly, yeah. There will be something.
Future.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Again, I have to build up some money. That's my whole thing. Without their money, I just can't move on their thing for now.
So as far as that large house on Lot 6 is concerned, it's still within the setbacks?
Oh, the house is fine.
Yep.
Fits in the lot. But I got 26 feet on side.
41 is the large house,
Okay.
isn't it?
I have 26 feet on side and they have 28 on the other side. All right, so
Yep.
for a house like that, over $1 million, it's kind of tight.
As long as the setbacks are being, observed. For each lot, there's a setback, side setback, right?
Oh, yeah, it's
Yep,
fine.
so as
Yeah,
long as we're
it's fine.
okay there.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure Nelson's on top of that, I just wanted to ask.
No, we find enough room to place it. Yeah.
So with the construction of this culvert, is it going to be finished to top coat or just binder, or what's the level of completeness on this?
All right. I'm in the position now to build the culvert,
Yep.
build the walls, and put the top, and put place the slabs. And I'm gonna try to build the walls to the height of the culvert, at least. Because I want to build the road so I can get the other side.
So as far as, from an engineering standpoint, if we have the culvert to that level of completeness, we have the road on one side and no road on the other side, is there any concerns, winter weather, rain, snow, damaging anything, or?
I don't feel so, as long as there's some earth cover over the culvert and up against the walls. I wouldn't want to see the top of the culvert left exposed. Even if the walls and fill aren't placed all the way up to the subgrade, the bottom of the gravel base.
Yep.
I'd at least like to see a couple, 3 feet of earth cover if there's enough vertical height to allow for that, so that there is in fact, as traffic passes back over, inevitably traffic will pass over, construction equipment pass over.
Yep.
So that the culvert has adequate cover, earth cover over it, and is protected somewhat from winter conditions.
And since this won't be in a finished state, we'll still need constant erosion control / protection of the wetlands around this, correct?
That is
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, you have to, that's the first thing I would do, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And they'll be
Yeah.
upkept throughout the winter, I mean,
Yeah.
Yep. And
And
this-
we'll
They'll
be
done-
observing that as well to make sure that the wetlands are protected throughout the winter, or is that possible?
The Conservation Commission, I understand, does handle that, with it, whereas this is a crossing at a wetland protected under the wetland resource.
Right.
I understand that an order of conditions has to be in place for this work, and my understanding is that the commission has typically handled that line of work. I have worked with their conservation agent from time to time. I'm certainly be glad to. We're well qualified with respect to looking at, observing, monitoring, reporting on erosion controls, designing erosion controls. But
Okay,
again, that is typically, around the wetlands, has typically been handled by the Conservation Commission and its agent.
okay.
Yeah, I will meet with Matt Merrill there.
Mhm.
After the results of the meeting today, I'll meet with Matt and do whatever it needs to be that we need to do.
So as far as the lot lease is concerned, have we received any paperwork? Is there any paperwork that goes along with this, or is, Don usually takes care of this, so
There was no paperwork that I had seen, but I can always take a look.
I think we get fees for that too, don't we?
Mhm.
Doesn't the town get a fee for each lot release?
Yes, $100.
Yep.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that in the fee
Okay.
schedule.
So you had these lots released before, usually you just go into town with paperwork and with the fee for it after they get approved, or how's that process usually work?
What is the question?
After we release lots, then you go into Don, you go to visit Don with the paperwork and with the fee for each lot release?
Yeah.
Alright.
And again, those, the fill over the culverts, I have to do that anyway, because I'm gonna cross that bridge with 370, all the other machines, so I have to protect those those slabs.
Does the board have any further questions?
What happens if we release the lots that he's asking for, and for some unforeseen reason, the culvert and the slabs do not get built? What action can we take at that point?
Well, in theory, that we have a surety or bond for completion.
Well, how much is the bond? Is that enough to cover the cost of construction of?
Mr. Chairman, as of now, we have not estimated construction value for that section of road. The uncompleted section in its entirety, and specifically the culvert and so forth. So right now, there is a covenant in place that the lots cannot be released unless replaced with financial surety.
So we would need that prior to releasing any lots then?
Yes, or Mr. Sequeira can move forward constructing the culvert with the covenant still in place, I understand, and can pursue lot release a little bit later down the road when he's executed some of this work, rather than post financial surety for that work. For example, the cost of the culvert, the cost of the retaining walls getting up to a certain height.
I can't speak for the rest of the board members, but I would feel more comfortable if that were the case.
Yeah, he already said he has enough money in place to do the culvert, and he was willing to get it going, so.
Okay, that's a good point, that's what my plan is, because I don't mind place a small bond,
Yep.
but I have to leave money to build that culvert.
Right.
Okay, so if I'm gonna put too much money into the bond, I don't have the money to build the culvert.
Right,
And,
understood.
yeah,
I think if it
let-
was just a section of
Yeah.
road, that would be a different story, but a culvert's obviously more complicated, there's a lot more involved in it.
Right.
And then if for some reason something should happen, the town gets stuck with that, that's obviously an expense on the town. So from what I'm hearing, is that the feeling is, if you could start construction on the culvert, get it to where you need it to be, and then come to us and ask for the lot releases, then when we go through the surety process, or the bond process, it would be for the road and not for the culvert?
That makes sense to me, and I could even put a draft together, if you would like, of assuming the milestone is the culvert's in place in a certain amount. I can put a draft in place, not for board's action, but so that everybody knows the dollar value as we see it. And then it just, more as a planning tool than anything else, planning tool of how to proceed. I can't speak for Mr. Sequeira, but I think, before tonight's meeting, the question was, is there any reason to proceed with a culvert and daylight at the end of the tunnel, and that there would be lot releases at some point in the near future? And I think this discussion, at least from my perspective, was quite fruitful. I have a better understanding of everybody's position after tonight's discussion. I look forward to seeing the loop road finished so that there is redundant access for the subdivision. And the key thing to make that happen is that wetland crossing. Afterwards, there is blasting, there is fill placement, there is drainage to connect the two ends of the road. But the linchpin, if you will, is that wetland crossing.
I have one additional question. Can you explain to me what the slabs are? You mentioned these concrete slabs. What exactly?
Well, this is a 12-foot culvert,
Okay,
so we're gonna build the walls, and then we get I think they're already designed, they're about a foot thick, and they come in, they just drop them over the foundation, over the,
Okay.
over the walls.
all right.
All right, it's like after on these, that's how I built the first one.
Okay, and that would be,
Yeah.
that's the milestone we're looking for, the culvert and the crown.
Culvert, the walls, and the fill, so that there is the connection for at least construction equipment back and forth.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, you'll see what looks like a dirt road.
Mm.
To me, that's a huge milestone for this project.
So,
That's,
Tony, does that sound like it's a possible plan? Would the 2 weeks be enough time to get that culvert to a level of completion where we would more or less be able to not include it so heavily into any kind of a potential bond, and then ask for the lot release in 2 weeks? Is that possible, or?
Well, don't be into, I mean, I can build the walls like next week.
Yep.
But I didn't order I already talked to L&L,
Mhm.
but it'll be probably a month. I mean, depends when, I mean, if they're gonna, I don't know when they're gonna give, because first, I mean, they have to cure.
Right.
Because we have to be able to drive over those things. So, I don't know, I can speak for them, see how long it's gonna take to get those. The walls, I can tell you, they will be built probably next week. If the foundation guy is willing to have the time to do it, they'll be built next week. Okay, so now I don't mind to build that culvert, but what I don't want is after I build that culvert, come over here and you ask me for a crazy bond that I can come up with it. So now I spend the money on the culvert and I can't do anything because I don't have the money for the bond.
Well, I don't know what level it starts to get crazy, but my understanding is that once we have that culvert in place, and it's more or less fit for construction traffic, we know it's not going anywhere, then any of a bond would be more or less for a road and not for that culvert itself. And the road would be for lots to be released. Am I correct about that, what I'm saying?
You've got most of it. We spoke of walls, and I was under the impression at first that we were talking about the retaining walls that run parallel with the road that hold the fill, but now understanding that the culvert has walls that are different. They run perpendicular to the road and support the slab. I want to make sure we're clear on exactly what is being proposed. My suggestion would be, if Tony would put in writing, I'd like to construct this, and this, I can look at the other pieces and put dollar values to that. I will caution everyone that those retaining walls that run parallel with the road are very important in that, in order to place fill over the culvert and at the approach on either side of the culvert, the walls need to be in place to support the lateral extent of the fill.
I understood all four walls to mean, when the term walls is being used, I understood it to be perpendicular and parallel.
Yep.
So I don't know if that was the case, Tony?
Okay, I only have capacity, money-wise, to place the culvert, all right? And I like to, again, try to get the walls at the height of the culvert. It's only 4 feet.
Yep.
all right, so I can cross with the machines, all right? But if I have the money to build the 2 sidewalls, I don't have that money. So, that's why, I mean, I'm trying to get the 2 lots released so I can build up enough money and go to a bank and get,
But weren't those 2 walls, the parallel ones, integral to having those lots be buildable?
I have to build those with blocks. I mean, those concrete blocks, big blocks. So, I may be able to manage. One thing I want to do, I want to go, because of the wetlands, I want to build their culvert
Right.
before the winter time.
Right, that's appreciated. We
All
agree
right,
with
and again, and then I can place, I'd say, the highest I can go is build a culvert, okay, this is the number there, build a culvert and maybe place a bond of $30,000, okay? That's basically what I'm capable to do. Anything more than that, it's out of my range.
Comments from the board? Questions?
I think my understanding of this is the culvert without the walls is not enough. Is that
Right.
correct?
Right,
Right.
yeah, you need to build walls.
I wonder, is this a separation here? We have a lot that's not gonna be built on Lot 42, which is adjacent to Lot 41, right?
Yeah.
And the owner of 41 has access to 41?
Yeah,
That being a non-buildable lot, or a lot not to be built on, do we need access to that?
Well, I don't,
In addition to the access that the adjoining lot will have, by virtue of it being the adjoining lot?
if I can sell their lot, then I will build up enough money to build the walls.
If you could sell Lot 42,
Right. They'll give me enough
which,
money. to
which,
build the
as
wall.
I understood, you already have a buyer for 42, right?
Is
The person who's bought 41.
that's right.
do we have sheet 7
So I'm asking for
Yes.
at least 42, give them some money, and then like 6.
Without the release, you can't sell it to him.
Right, but I mean, I'm saying maybe we could release 42
parallel walls.
and gets him some money, and then he can go forward with completing the culvert and the walls. And then 6 is a buildable lot, he's gonna build on that. 42, apparently, the guy's just gonna have it just sit there.
Why not have him start construction on this thing and get what he says?
Yeah, those are the ones we talked about.
Yeah, all right, so we wanna hold him to both
And that
then.
frees up some money from,
All right, but my understanding of what he's saying is,
and a lot of lots left in this thing on the other
Right.
side.
but I think he's saying that he needs some money
I see it is
in
without
addition to
these
whatever he has
parallel
available. And whatever he
retaining
has
walls,
available
really
will
can't
not
build
do
on
more
this.
than just the culvert and the
I
walls.
understood it to
And
be
also
that
the
he
wetlands
can
aren't
start,
protected.
that he can
They'll be
start.
protected,
He can
they'll be
start. He
protected
can do
if
the
I
culvert,
at least
but
can
that's it.
build these walls up to the culvert's
Oh,
only
okay.
4 feet tall.
Is that,
It's about this
Yeah,
height.
so
You're taking with the
what
retaining
I'm
walls
seeing
up.
is that
You want to build the retaining
build
walls up, or just the
the walls,
support
you know,
walls
like
for the
those
culvert?
Right.
two walls that connect it, that make it technically a bridge, and then, but the walls to come up, then above grade. I think he does not have the money to do, and with that, you know, the walls that need to be built so that.
A retaining wall.
From up on two sides.
so they'd be incomplete.
My thinking on this one,
Release 42?
started in Jan 1.
Yeah, you could always release them one at a time.
As far as it goes, it's pretty flat here.
Gets the job done on the culvert and the walls, and then he comes back for 6.
And all the walls are done? But you can come over the culvert and then slope the fill down. So the
You're
important
confident.
thing is
Yeah,
the
I
walls
get a
get the
problem
lower
with it.
sections in.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the hard one.
Can I get a clarification? If things don't go your way tonight, we don't release any lots, how much money how much can you do? How much can you start?
Or they're gonna do anything. Like I said before, I have to grab the money that I got and go try to make money someplace else and come back, because I'm not giving up this thing. I'm not walking away, but I just don't have the money. Again, the bank only gives me $300,000
So you can't even start the culvert?
for this whole thing, for the culvert, the walls, and put all the drain in.
I understand you don't have the money to do all of it,
Right.
Do you have any money to start it?
I have money to start. The money that I have to start is like for that's what I'm talking about, the culvert, and maybe place a $30,000 bond.
The culvert only, there's no walls.
I have to build walls at least up to the top of the,
So just a
so I can
quick
get it,
sketch.
so I can get access to the other side.
We have the culvert,
Yeah.
span the concrete across it,
Mm-hmm.
and then either side, start the retaining walls to get across the bridge, approximately 4 feet high. We're level, we kind of come down and we're level, and then over here someplace, I'm gonna call that maybe 20, 40 feet, is when it starts to slope up the road. So instead of building these two retaining walls to full height, and I'm not sure exactly what that is, we're gonna take them up to 4 feet to allow cover over the bridge as well as holding it, as well as supporting earth around it. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
Well, the retaining walls themselves won't be complete, but they'll be in place for the culvert.
High enough for him to get
Right,
across.
and they'll have to be made larger and higher to actually start to get up the hill on the other side,
After.
which would come after the fact. I got that correct, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So again, if I, like I said, if I sell their lot 42 now, okay, I can pick up enough money to, with that lot only, that may give you enough to go to a bank and get enough money to, because again, I like to pave that road before June next year.
So let's see if the board can agree, first of all, on if the amount of work proposed for the culvert is acceptable. So it's instead of completing it with the retaining wall on both sides, you know, I'm just spitballing here, the 70 or 80 feet of the length of the retaining wall, we're going maybe 30 feet up to a height of 4 foot to get everything across the culvert. Is the board okay with that scope?
That's acceptable to me.
What is the jeopardy if you're only going to the 4 feet level? What is in play? What is,
That would be enough basically to get
what's
us,
compromised?
the only thing that's compromised is going up the hill then.
Okay.
So if the road extends up the hill, we would need that to be larger. And longer and higher.
Okay.
But to the extent that Tony's planning on going just
It's
across
not
the
going up there.
culvert, the 4 feet looks like it's enough.
Okay. And engineering is in concurrence with that?
I'm in agreement that if the culvert is placed and fill's gonna be placed over the culvert, those parallel retaining walls should be up to about the height of the fill to contain the fill.
Yep.
And to protect the road, the culvert, and so on. I'm sorry, to protect the
So
culvert.
it's
to
a
protect the
package.
roads.
It's a culvert, it's the walls, and it's the fill.
Yes.
And you're in agreement that all three?
Yep.
Okay, so we're okay on the scope, everybody? Okay, so we're good in that scope. So now, coming to the lot release. I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that before we can release the lots, we would need some kind of a bond to make sure that everything's squared away. In order to keep the bond at a low level, completion of the culvert is necessary. Sound right so far? So, and what I'm hearing from Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, is that he needs lots released before he can complete all of this, just to make sure he's financially okay. So the question is, do we release lots before culvert or after culvert? Does that make sense so far? Lot 42 is the one that you're not gonna build on? That's a buffer lot, right?
That's right. 42 I'm not building on.
So would it be acceptable, if everybody's in agreement, that we release lot 42 now? We can release lot 6 after the culvert is constructed and after we come up with an estimate for a bond from Graves
It
Engineering.
works for me.
Okay.
It works.
What do you guys think? Does that sound fair?
Sounds fair.
Lot 42 is not being built on, so this, whoever makes the motion has to make the motion with the lot 42 is to be non-built, it's a buffer for lot 41, and then we'll go from there.
Works for me.
If you guys are in agreement, I'll take a motion, I'll accept the motion.
Question?
A question, or?
No, I'm good.
I had a quick question. So if it's a non-buildable lot, is that gonna cause you, is
It
that?
is buildable.
It is a buildable lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's why we want to make the
Build
motion
one.
to say that
It's gonna
for the
be
lot not to be
privacy.
built on. We'll release it, but not for to be built.
To be added to 41. Is it
Well,
gonna be
he's-
combined?
No, he's
or
not going to
kept
combine
separate?
them. That's where they're
Okay.
kind of, if it was combined, it'd be easier for us.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
he's not going to combine them.
And if I don't comply with what I'm saying over here, you shut me up. I mean, shut me
Oh,
up.
we've been working with you for years,
Shut
and
me
then
up. Right, I mean, yeah.
Nelson would have to, the building inspector would have to give you a permit for the house anyway, which, based on our motion, he probably wouldn't do, so I
Yeah,
mean,
this
I
is a
think we're all,
project that the planning board needs to work with me like always did, and to get things done. And I also was lucky enough that the paving company wait for the money, so, almost a year, so, yeah, otherwise it couldn't be done.
you okay, Steve? You need any more questions, or?
No, I mean, personally, I would have liked to have seen him start some of the work on that culvert before we released any lots, but I'll serve at the pleasure of the board. If this is the way the wind's gonna blow, I'm okay with releasing the one lot. I'll vote on that.
You guys want to make a motion?
All right, I'll make a motion that we release Lot 42, a non-buildable lot, Lot 6 to be pending the completion of work on the culvert, and release date to be determined.
And the extent of the culvert work to be?
The extent of the culvert work to be in compliance with what our engineering advisor deems necessary.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to release Lot 42, which is not to be built upon, to construct a culvert with the perpendicular road walls, concrete spanning, the 2 retaining walls to a level of approximately 4 feet to protect the cover over that
Phil.
infill, exactly.
Yeah.
All right,
I wanna get off the wetlands anyway, so I can work, just go over there.
Yep.
Get those walls in place, get everything in place so I can get across to the other side, because I have to start from the bottom up. Okay, so, build that road, but,
all right, vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passed.
thank you,
Thank you, Tony.
thank you very much.
So you'll reach out to Ian then with
Yeah.
all the
I'll,
necessary?
come over tomorrow or next day or that, and, okay?
All right.
And, I think now we have the plans, the as-built for, Mr. Walsh to, provide, I mean, to look at it.
Be glad to. If there's a copy available for me, I'd be glad to take it with me this evening. Great, thank you. And likewise, I believe there was a preliminary plan for a project off of Lion Street, Lions Road.
Yes.
Submitted. If there's a paper copy, that's the middle available. I'd love to get that tonight as well.
Okay. Yes, we have what we.
My paper copy, but I can print it again.
We
Oh, the little one? Oh, I was hoping for full size, but.
we have a full-size copy. I just want to make sure that we have a second copy for.
Or if you could have the
There-
engineer, the design engineer forward a set of whatever was submitted to the planning board, if they could submit a copy directly to our office.
Yeah.
If that's acceptable.
There's a PDF that I can send you.
Okay.
If that works, or would you like them to?
I'd like them to send us a full copy. We have a lot of design engineers who like to send me PDFs, and I get to be their printing
Okay.
outfit, and
It's
not all the
expensive.
PDFs,
Yeah.
not all the PDFs come the way I would like them to come, so.
Okay. I'll reach out to them and have them mail you a full-size copy
Thank you very
of those
much,
plans.
appreciate that.
Okay, again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
good
you.
night.
Aye.
Good night.
Tony.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, thank you all very much. I'm gonna pass out my
Mr.
cards,
Walsh,
but.
are you gonna
before-
stay, we're gonna talk about Piasta Road, did you
Okay,
stay and answer questions about that?
absolutely, be glad to.
Yeah, so Rocky Hill, I don't think there's anything moving on there. Eisenhower Drive, there's really nothing that we can talk about here. Same with Tobin, so we'll go to Piast as the last one. I know that they were out there paving. For full disclosure, I live on Piasta, but unfortunately, I live on the other side of the hill, so.
Oh, okay.
That
The old
means paved
section.
side of my house. So I saw a lot of equipment being moved back and forth, and I know there's some work going on, but I haven't got a chance to get out there and actually take a peek at it.
Certainly. What's going on out there is Ramco is coordinating the effort. Amarello is the paving subcontractor. They removed the old binder, regraded, recompacted the regraded surface. They placed the binder asphalt only. I got a call at about 11 o'clock, I'm sorry, 10 o'clock in the morning the paving day last week. Oh, by the way, they're paving now. And that was my heads up. And we were told, all right, they're gonna be there for binder, and they're gonna put the bituminous berms back down the sides and then put top course. It was gonna be a long day for them, and they were gunning for getting it all done. our guy got out there, and the binder was down, the crew was gone, and I buzzed through there on my way over here, and nothing's happened since. Now we had rain event, and
Yep.
the surface is gonna have to be swept. Earlier this year, to give you more of the big story, I met with Don Johnson, someone from the Highway Department, and Jonathan Andrelevich from Ramco, and one of the gentlemen from Amarillo. We discussed what was going to occur, which was the binder surface was down, and it had deteriorated to the point where all were in agreement, get it out of here. So I'm happy to report to you that that's been done. I was hoping to see curbing at least before the rain so that the water could be contained, most of it into the catch basins, but that didn't happen. Since that meeting, and a few weeks ago, they cut all the brush back down on at the stormwater basin.
Didn't see that.
Quite frankly, I'm pretty happy with progress. I would like to see progress about 6 or 8 years ago. That's been sitting there for, you would know the numbers, but I'm thinking probably 10 years or more. Rough numbers that it's been in the way it is, and I think there's some lots that are still to be developed there. With respect to our level of effort for paving operations and such in town, over the years, we worked with a previous planner for a long time, and our role, unfortunately, it wasn't anybody's fault. It wasn't the previous planner's fault, but our role was limited to a short time on site during a paving operation. Normally, we take a look before the pavement goes down, a day or two before, what are the preparations, whether it's top course or binder and so forth, and then a short site visit during paving operations. And quite frankly, that's not the norm. And going forward, I'd like to see that if we could work with your staff and the board to figure out how to work in. Normally, we have somebody on site during the entire paving operation. We look at depths, we look at temperatures, and we collect the last waste slip that tells us the total tonnage used on the job, so you can also calculate theoretical yield. How thick is it, in theory? But nothing is better than that threaded rod with a couple of nuts on that we call the poker, that we walk around and measure the thickness as it's being placed. And that, I've had situations where people have said, no, we did 6 cores and we don't think there's enough asphalt there. Well, we keep records. We did 600 spot checks that were painlessly reported over many years, and that tells the tale more so. And if you can double check tonnage against square feet or square yards, that helps as well. So again, going forward, I'd like to see if we can't find a better way to deal with this and have somebody on site more so. But unfortunately, the older projects, that wasn't occurring.
So have you checked the yields on Piasta?
We have requested the information on the tonnage. When we got there, everyone was gone, so we couldn't get the tonnage. We have our measurements. We've asked for their measurements of yardage and their reports on
Slips.
their report on tonnage.
Okay.
Yep. I was told that information will come to us, but I have not received it yet. And when I get it, I will share it with the town. I think the request specifically came from the Highway Department, I believe, and if I get the information, I'll share it with everybody that I can.
I can tell you moving forward, especially because we're going to be visiting another subdivision potentially coming to town, I would like to make sure that the contractors are aware if we're getting sieve analysis, we're getting compaction test on gravel, that everything's being done prior, everything's being tested prior to the next phase of work, and that it's being inspected by you folks. I just don't want these contractors putting down gravel. We're not getting a sieve analysis and we're not getting compaction test, and then before you know it, they're laying the binder down, and it's too late at that point. So I just want to make sure moving forward,
Yep.
We make that very clear to them that they're not to move forward without our engineering firm inspecting.
Yep. I agree with you 100%, and I would like to see that we get that in place. There was a project recently approved, that definitive, within the last year. That's the first project I've seen in a long time in this town, and They haven't gone to construction yet, but I think that's a good starting point with that project there, if that's the first one to start on the construction. And we do what we can with the remaining ones that are already underway. I don't know how much we can change the rules with those, but I agree with you 100%. The norm is that we see sieve analyses. We see many towns, we actually witness the gravel density testing. We don't do it ourselves, but we're out there to make sure we're comfortable. And we work with the technician to make sure, we make adjustments if for some reason things don't seem to be coming back with favorable results. Sometimes it can be too wet, sometimes it can be too dry, some can be a bad representation of what the laboratory results were. But nevertheless, I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
What we're doing right now with respect to the sieve and the gravel density testing, I'll have to check on that. I used to know these things off the top of my head, but where I assign staff and our activity on subdivisions in Dudley's been very limited for the last 10 years. I can't tell you what the norm's been, but we probably were seeing at least sieves, if not also seeing the results of density testing, but not being there to witness it.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to see you all.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
I'm sure you have one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And here's my card as well.
Great.
You.
PC, oh, okay.
Yes.
great.
Thank you.
All right, so that concludes item E. F, as far as I know, there's nothing, no updates on that, the solar. No public hearing. Let's skip over G. Item H, planner's plate, is there anything to report or?
Not that I had, there was nothing given to me from Don to report, so.
And I spoke with him briefly on Monday. He didn't mention anything either. We went over some of the items that we were supposed to go on or take care of today. Comments from the planning board. I want to mention that we have a town meeting this coming Monday. Meeting starts at 7 o'clock. Board of Selectmen meets at 6:30. Typically, if there's a warrant item or an item on the warrant that the planning board is either sponsoring or has some input on, we meet at 6:30 and then we take part in the meeting. But at this time, there's nothing there warrant-wise, which is mostly all I think it's all financials. So, as far as I understand, unless I hear differently from the Board of Selectmen, and I'm gonna try to talk to somebody that, or town administrator, Ms. Ruda, unless I hear differently, we don't have to be there, but of course, participation in any town meeting is a wonderful thing and encouraged.
There is one thing that I remember that, so there is a, for the project on Spruce Street, we just got a decision back from the Dudley Fire Department. They, and I'll send this around so you can read what their decision was, but in the, they will accept the alternative to the cul-de-sac, a turnaround point approximately halfway down the road, large enough for all fire department vehicles to back into and turn into the direction they had entered the road.
Yep.
With the exception of the ladder truck will just have to back up out of Spruce Street, but they are accepting sort of the alternative for that development.
Okay. Any other comments from the planning board members? Anything?
I just have one quick question, and I don't wanna drag it out tonight, I was looking at this plan that's gonna be coming before
Yep.
to us, and I noticed there's no sidewalks on it. Is there a bylaw, do they
Yes.
have to put something?
They have to, yes. I'm gonna be speaking with Mr. Haynes tomorrow. He's come into the office, so kind of go over the project with me to kind of get me familiar with it, since, you know, it's gonna be coming back up. And that is one thing that when I was looking at it and I looked through the bylaws, that I did see, you know, sidewalks on both sides are required. It's not in there. There was sidewalks included in the original subdivision when that was approved back in 2007. I don't know why they have been taken out, so that is one thing that I was gonna bring up to him, but correct, yes. There are sidewalks that are supposed to be there.
You might wanna tell him, take a better look at his plan, cause it's incomplete, there's inconsistencies that contradict each other.
Do you kind of,
Right here, he's got two different thicknesses for the road. So so I wanna know which thickness he's going with,
Okay.
because they contradict each other. I don't want him to have to come back, because if I ask him, it's incomplete, I'm gonna ask him,
Mhm.
fix it and come back.
Do you want to keep this just so I can remember in the morning to bring that up? Yeah, thanks for noticing that, because I would not have. I don't think I would have caught that.
I still have the 2007 or whatever they have plans for the definitive.
Don had pulled them before going out, so I do have them in the office, and I did take a look at them this afternoon, which is when I noticed that there were sidewalks originally included on the plan.
I don't remember I'm 10 or 12 years removed. I've had no involvement with that project since the
Mhm.
definitive review, so it stirs up some interest up here, but nevertheless, I'll be prepared to work with you gentlemen on that one.
And I will I'll call the engineer tomorrow and have them send your office some plans.
And just as a quick heads up, there was a couple invoices that got signed for you guys tonight.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
In process.
Yes, much appreciate that. Okay.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
All right, thank you and good night.
Other than
you.
that, that was my question. I just wasn't sure what, being new
No,
to the
anything-
board, I just seen, I was like, we're gonna have a road with no sidewalk?
No, anything we bring up beforehand is obviously helps them and helps us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a 45-day process or window, and we get comments to them early, they can kind of work that in, and this shortens everything up, makes it better for everybody.
And also, I will say that not all towns require sidewalks on both sides of the road for new developments, so thank you, Dudley, for doing that.
Yeah, we've got to watch out, because there's been some instances of trying to get them waived after the fact,
Yeah.
you know, so it's a thing we have to just look at and
Good catch.
actually think about, because you have,
Mm-hmm.
not to try to drag this out too much longer, but the topic has been, if somebody moves in and a child or an adult has a handicap, how do you guess which side of the road is gonna have that situation, and how do you care for that, so.
So what is the bylaw as far as the type of sidewalk? Is it the asphalt sidewalk into the Cape Cod?
I want to say there's supposed to
Or is
be
it
a
grass
four
strip?
to 6 foot strip
5
of
foot.
between, 5-foot strip between the street and the sidewalk. And the sidewalk, I want to say, was also 5 foot wide. I want to say it's supposed to be concrete, but I can't remember that for a fact.
It is on here. I thought it was in the design guidelines. I read it this afternoon, so I know it's there.
I apologize, because I haven't read it.
Yeah, no.
There's a
Oh,
lot to
okay.
read for new members. There's a lot of
So-
stuff, so you can't do it all in
Yeah.
one night.
So it is section 5, required improvements in construction procedures for an approved subdivision. This is within the planning guidelines. And then section C is sidewalks, saying sidewalks shall be installed on both sides of all ways. The subgrade for a 5-foot wide sidewalk shall be compacted, shaped, rolled on both sides of the road. Foundation not less than 6 inches. Gravel conforming to requirements. Base shall be placed subgrade. It does not say if it compacted layers on top and bottom by bituminous, sorry, concrete.
Bituminous
Bituminous
concrete, which is
concrete placed.
asphalt.
Okay.
Okay.
Unless we have something else, accept the motion to adjourn.
Seconded?
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, Ian.
Appreciate it.